Hello everyone, how's it going? Billy Ballgame here, back with another video. On this channel, I'm just a dude who loves to talk about baseball cards. And today's video is one that I'm super excited to make because today is Friday, January 31st, and yesterday was my 2-year YouTube anniversary on Thursday. So today, I'm going to do my top 25 cards in my collection by average VCP value countdown. But before I get into that, I just wanted to touch base on a few other topics before I get into the countdown. So, again, I started my channel on January 30th of 2023. So, if you remember, if you've been around the channel for a while, and there are a few of you that have, my buddy Joe from Redneck Collector, of course my buddy Chris from Missouri, and many others. I started out filming my videos from the front room of our house. We have kind of in our old house in Columbia, we had kind of a formal dining room. And I filmed it from the table. And behind me was a dresser that I kept the vast majority of my collection in. And I also had a little bookshelf in our bedroom that I kept the spillover in. So I definitely have a much better setup now than I did when I first started out, and I'm so grateful for that. But also, I'm grateful for the YouTube card community. And so at this point last year, on my 1-year YouTube anniversary, I don't think I had done a collaboration yet. I don't think I had done a live stream yet. And I've done several of those. I've been on my buddy Greg from Midlife's channel. I've been on 4 Collectors. My first one I went on with Theo Clemente Collector. I've been on with Ray from Philly. I've been on with my buddy Dave from Legends of the Dugout. I'm trying to think. Oh, I've been on with Sammy Thunder and my buddy Jason from Cold Ones and Cardboard and Cold Ones. I've been on with Jason and Aaron from Value Vintage. So this last year, since my last YouTube anniversary, I've done some collaborations, and I really enjoy those. Those to me are a whole lot of fun because instead of sitting here talking to my camera, I get to talk to real people, which I enjoy a lot more. So I hope to do more collaborations in the future. And again, I've been playing around with StreamYard a little bit, and I'm hoping to get better on that because at some point I would like to start doing my own collaborations on my channel. And my buddy and I, Joe from Redneck Cards, may actually get together this weekend on StreamYard and just talk and maybe not even post anything. We'll see how that goes. And so again, I'm so grateful to be part of this community. I went to the National last year and for the first time ever met a whole lot of these guys. And it was just a great time. So many awesome dudes that I had either never spoken to before or never met in person. And there was a huge list of people, and I would love to go through and name every single one of them, but I would leave somebody off because there's a huge group of guys that I met at the National last year. And then again, I'm really grateful to be part of the local card collecting community. My buddy Chris from Missouri, my buddy Tom down in Jeff City, and my buddy Coop, who you have all seen recently on Mike Baseball Collector's channel. They went down and stayed with him and went to the Dallas Card Show. And this group of guys is just, they're essential to me in my enjoyment of the hobby. And unfortunately, not to bring this back to be a downer, but we lost a good part of our local card community in Mauricio passed on New Year's Day. But just what a great group of guys. We could hang out and watch paint dry and have a good time. And in a lot of ways, this video is going to be a huge tribute to Chris from Missouri, my buddy Tom, and my buddy Coop, because a big chunk of these cards that are going to be in my top 25 countdown, I picked up from those guys. And I'm so grateful for them. So plans for the future. I want to get more consistent on making videos. As you all know, I coach 2 sports, and baseball's getting ready to kick up as sport number 2. I finished with girls basketball, middle school girls basketball, right before Christmas. So there are times where I've missed weeks, and maybe even 2 weeks without putting out a video, and I want to get more consistent with that. And then also, when I have time, I would like to put out maybe 2 or 3 videos a week. And really, I just want to continue to build friendships within the hobby and friendships within the YouTube card community. Some of you guys that comment on my videos, you know, we've emailed back and forth. I bought cards off of guys. There's a few people that I text and message almost on a daily basis. My buddy Matt from Virginia, I just mailed him some King Griffey Jr. rookie cards. Like, he messaged me on Instagram, and we message each other almost every day. As well as my buddy Justin at Go Crazy Card Collecting, and my buddy Joe from Redneck Collector. So if it weren't for the YouTube card community, I wouldn't know these guys, except for Justin, because we went to the same high school. He's a few years younger than me, but I knew him prior to YouTube. So I'm just grateful for this card community and the friendships that I've been able to build, and the future friendships that I will continue to be able to build. And just thank you all so much for supporting my channel. It still amazes me. Like, to me, I do not want to be considered an influencer. Like, I want to be considered a dude who loves to talk about baseball cards. And that's really what I am. But I've heard the term influencer thrown around out there a little bit here more recently, involving my channel. And it kind of makes me uncomfortable, but in a way it is humbling and an honor at the same time to be considered an influencer, because really I'm just a goofball that sits down in my man cave and talks about baseball cards because I love it. I'm not an expert on cards. I say the wrong stuff in almost every video I do. And just the fact that my channel continues to grow, and there's a group of guys out there that watch and comment every video on every video that I do, and I appreciate it so much. Like, I can't even tell you how much it means to me that you all would want to sit down and listen to me ramble on aimlessly about baseball cards. And it's just amazing. And thank you guys so much. So really, I just want to continue to grow the channel, do more collaborations, and get more consistent on my videos. I would also like to get more into StreamYard so I can start doing my own live streams. So my plans for my collection, really, I just want to keep plugging along with what I'm doing. It might serve me well to narrow my focus a little bit, which I've tried to do here lately, as I show a huge stack of cards that I want to submit to SGC to get graded. So really, I want to grade cards in my collection because I'm a firm believer that if I grade the right cards in my collection, there's no better way to build value in my collection quickly than by getting cards graded. So that's one thing I'm going to focus on. I'm going to do a lot of SGC submissions here, hopefully over the year, and I'm going to have to take turns, right? SGC submission 1 month, buy cards 1 month, or something like that, right? I also want to continue working on the 1960 set because I've really kind of slacked off on that this year and haven't made a tremendous amount of progress on it. I'm hoping to kind of step that up this year. And here recently, if you watched my last couple videos, I bought a few cards for the 60 set off my new buddy Mark from Mark's Dodgers Cards, and I'm going to do a video on these coming up here hopefully soon. But I want to continue to focus on the 1960 top set. I also want to continue focusing on what I would consider iconic Hall of Fame rookie cards and iconic maybe non-rookie cards, like some of the cards I picked up here recently, my 56 Willie Mays and my 55 Bowman Hank Aaron. I want to continue to pick up those types of cards. And so my collection has changed tremendously this year, and you're about to see it in my top 25 countdown. So last year's list, number 25 started at $70. This year's list, it starts at $126. And again, I owe a huge thank you to Chris from Missouri, my buddy Tom, and Coop, because again, a lot of these cards I got from them. So there are 13 cards on this list that either dropped out based on value or I no longer have in the collection. And there are 13 new cards that are in the top 25. And a lot of these I bought off of my buddy Tom down in Jeff City. One I bought off of Coop, and I think in this top 25, at least 2 of them I got from Chris. But a big chunk of these cards that I got, I was with one of those guys, or all of them, when I bought them. So that's just kind of a summary of my last 2 years on YouTube, and kind of how this top 25 countdown is going to be different this year than last year's. And I'm excited to continue growing my collection, growing my YouTube channel, and we will see what year 3 brings, because I don't plan on going anywhere. I love being part of this community, and I love the relationships and the friendships that I've made through YouTube. And again, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to me. So I'm going to quit flapping my gums, because again, I'm just a dude who loves to talk about baseball cards. I'm going to cut this and spin it around so I have a better angle to show you cards at. So I'll be right back with you. All right, and another addition to the channel since I did my last year's top 25 countdown is the logo that you guys are looking at. And shout out and props to my buddy Scott from Reindeer Studios. Just as most of you know, within the YouTube card community, Scott is a tremendous dude and a tremendous artist. And if he can make something as goofy and I don't know what word I'm looking for here, just as goofy as I am, look like that, that just tells you what kind of talent this dude has. So without further ado, number 25 is 1963 Topps Bob Gibson. So this one was not in the top 25 last year. This is a card that I picked up off my buddy Tom. This one in a PSA 6. Average VCP value is $126. And I'm sorry, my kids are home and they're running around upstairs, so you'll probably hear what sounds like a herd of elephants run around. So I apologize in advance. Excuse me. I'm already talking too much. All right, so number 24, 1979 Topps Ozzie Smith. Now, at this time last year, I had one of these, but it was in a BVG 6.5. So this was an upgrade that I picked up again from my buddy Tom. So this was not in the top 25 countdown last year. This is in a PSA 7, as you can see. Its VCP average value is $128. Next, a fairly recent pickup. We have the 64 Topps Giants. Mickey Mantle, this is number 23. This is in an SGC 6. This was not a card I owned last year. Its current VCP average value is $129. Number 22, We have the 2008 Topps Update Max Scherzer in a PSA 10. Its VCP average value is $132. This was a card that I had last year, and it was ranked 9th. And its average VCP value last year was $175. And this card I bought before he got his 3,000 strikeout. And right after he got his 3,000 strikeout, this card shot up to like $700 and something. So it has come down considerably. Again, its average value right now is $132. So next, we have a 64 Topps Bob Gibson. This is in an SGC 7.5. Its VCP average value is $132. And last year, this was not in my collection or in my top 25 countdown. This is another card that I bought off my buddy Tom, and I've said it before on my channel. It just goes to show you how amazing his collection is when he has duplicates that I buy off of him that are better than a lot of the cards that I have in my collection. So shout out once again to my buddy Tom. And I don't know if I said it already or not, but that was number 21. Next, we have number 20, 1986 Topps Jerry Rice in an SGC 8. Its VCP average value is $133. And again, this was not a card that I had last year. And I, again, bought this off my buddy Tom. So far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that I bought off of Tom on my top 25 countdown. And then next we have 65 Topps Jim, also known as Catfish Hunter, in a PSA 7. This VCP average value is $146. This isn't a card that I had last year in my top 25 countdown. This was a card I picked up last year at the National in Cleveland. And next, we have the 89 Fleer Billy Ripken. This is the F-Face version. Let's see, last year, this was number 18. So, same spot. This year it's 18 also. This is in an SGC 9.5. This year it's worth $152, whereas last year it was worth $117, and it's still in the same spot. But this is an amazing card. I love it. I've had it since before my wife and I got married, and I bought it at a flea market. And this was one of the first cards that I graded myself when I started grading with SGC, and I just love this card. Next, we have a 64 Topps Hank Aaron. Last year in this countdown, I had an SGC 4 of this card. So this is an upgrade. My buddy Adam from Oregon has my SGC 4. I bought this one, again, off my buddy Tom in a PSA 5. This average value is $154. And again, this was not a card in my collection last year. Number 16. This is a super cool card that I'm stoked to have. This is a 2001 Topps Albert Pujols in an SGC 9. Its VCP average value is $172. Last year, this was at spot 11 and was worth $158. So it's gained a little bit of value in the last year, but it moved down 5 spots. So this is a card I bought at a card show in St. Louis, and I was with my buddies Tom and Chris, and I may have Doug may have been there, and maybe Jake from AR Cards. I don't think that was for this one. I think this was a different show, but I was with part of the local crew when I picked this up in St. Louis, and I love this card. Next, at number 15, we have an 83 Topps Tony Gwynn. This is one of the first cards I bought off of my buddy Chris from Missouri at a card show in Columbia before we really knew each other or were friends at that point. And so this one in a PSA 9 is, its average VCP value is $175. Last year, this was number 8 in my countdown, and it was $179. So it's lost $4. But again, just another awesome card. And I would like to think that most of these that I'm going to show on this countdown are Dylan from Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. I think I finally said his name right. I would like to think that these are Dylan approved. So next, we have the 60 Topps Roberto Clemente. Shout out to Lou Rock. I can't twirl my R's like he can. I don't have that Latin blood in me, I guess. That helps. So the 60 Topps Roberto Clemente is number 14 in the countdown. This is in an SGC 5, or a PSA 5, as you can see. Current VCP average value is $193. Last year, this ranked 6th and was $196, so it's lost $3. But this is a card I bought at the dugout a while ago, and I'm happy to have that. Once again, I love all these cards. That's why they're in my collection. So next, this is going to be no surprise that I'm going to show this in my countdown. 1989 Upper Deck, Ken Griffey Jr. This is number 13, as you can see, in a PSA 9. Old slab, but I just looked over this card again, and I think that this card is one that would stand up today in a new slab. Maybe that's just me being biased because it's a card in my collection and I think it's really sharp. This average value is $197. Last year it was ranked number 10 and its average value was $160. So it's come up $37 in the last year. So again, one of my favorite cards of all time. This is a card I may consider. Like I'm not a guy that goes out and spends huge money for 10s, but this might be a card at some point that I do fork over some serious coin to pick up a 10 in one day, just because it's one of my favorite cards and I love Ken Griffey Jr. Next, we have number 12, 75 Topps George Brett. This is a card I've loved since I knew about it, probably when I was 13, 14 years old. This was another pickup from my buddy Tom. This one's in a PSA 7. Its average VCP value is currently $234. And again, this is not a card that I had in my countdown last year. Super happy to have it. This is one of the OGs in my collection. Coming up next, number 11, 1962 Topps Carl Yastrzemski, as you can see, in an SGC 7. Its current VCP average value is $260. Last year, this was ranked 7th in my collection and had an average VCP value of $188. Now, those of you that have been around the channel for a while know the story about this card. This is this is the first card show I went to when we moved back to Missouri after I retired from the Army. I bought this ungraded off of Ron Estes, who still sets up at the local shows. He sets up at the National. I paid $40 for this. And this was part of my very first SGC submission, and I was over the moon when it came back a 7. But this one is really what made me start more seriously consider jumping into vintage, or focusing primarily on vintage. And I love this card. It will never leave my collection. It may be a casket card. I may actually get buried with that. Who knows? All right, next we have number 10. We have a 60 Topps Carl Yastrzemski in an SGC 5.5. Current VCP average value is $273. Last year, this was number 4 in my collection and was valued at $292. So it's lost $19 in value, but I'm not going to sweat that because I don't think this is the average SGC 5.5. But again, just a gorgeous card. This is the first card I ever bought that required eBay authentication. Next, another one from the 60 set. We have the Mickey Mantle All-Star. This is number 9 in the countdown. In an SGC 5, its average VCP value is $273. Last year, this was number 4 for me, and its average value was $292. Or no, I'm sorry. This one last year was $280. No. Come on, Billy, spit it out. This year, its average VCP value is $280. Last year, it was 5th, and its average VCP value was $268. Sorry, I've got too many numbers running through my head, and I jumbled that one up with the Yastrzemski rookie. But again, just a super cool card. I love these 60 All-Star cards. They're amazing looking. I hope to add the Hank Aaron and Willie Mays here pretty soon. Next, we have another card that I picked up in St. Louis. This was the first card show that I ever went with my buddy Tom, and I did meet Jake from AR Cards there. And they haven't made videos in a while, and I hope that they come back at some point because I really enjoyed their channel, and Jake was an amazing dude. But again, I bought this at a card show in St. Louis. This is ranked 8th in my top 25 this year. In an SGC 6, its current VCP value is $310. Last year, this ranked 3rd in my countdown, and its average value was $309. So this has gained $1 in value in the last year. But again, super happy to have this. As with all of my cards in my collection, again, I have these cards because I love them. That's why I target and I buy the cards that I buy. That's why I grade the cards that I grade. Next, number 7, we have the 85 Topps Mario Lemieux. Just kidding. 85 Topps Mario Lemieux. Second highest point per game average in NHL history. If he could have stayed healthy, he would probably unquestionably be the second best hockey player of all time, behind the great one, Wayne Gretzky. He missed so much time due to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and a bad back, just a whole lot of injuries for Mario Lemieux, but one of the best to ever do it. This was a national pickup. I bought this from Ash. And in a PSA 8, its current VCP average value is $335. And again, I bought this at the Cleveland National, and it was not in my countdown last year. And just an awesome card that I'm beyond ecstatic to own. Next, we have my first card that I picked up from my buddy Brent. And this is number 6 in the countdown. 1968 Topps Superstars, as you can tell, with Harmon Killebrew, Willie Mays, and Mickey Mantle. And again, just an amazing card. This one is in a PSA 7. Its current VCP average value is $399. And this, again, was not a card I had in the countdown last year. So shout out to my buddy Coop. Just an awesome card. I bought this on the way home from the National, as a matter of fact. And I was on the deferred payment plan. So I think I actually paid for this in like, I don't know, November, December, somewhere around there. All right, next, a recent pickup, 55 Bowman, Hank Aaron. This is number 5. In an SGC 5, its average VCP value is $418. And again, this wasn't a card that I had in the countdown last year. So again, super happy to add this to the collection. Next is the most recent pickup at number 4. 1956 Topps, Willie Mays. This is in a white back, as you can see, in SGC 4. And its average VCP value is $460. And last year, this wasn't a card I owned. So both of these cards I picked up from my buddy Jeremy, who is now part owner of the Dugout. This I bought at a Columbia show off of him. And then this recently I bought at the Dugout. So super stoked to have this card as well. Once again, thank you, Jeremy. If you watch this, I really appreciate you, my friend. Next, number 3 is the 1960 Topps, Bob Gibson. In an SGC 7.5, this is one I picked up off my buddy Chris, ungraded, a few years ago. And this is, again, a tough card to figure out a value on because one of these hasn't sold in an SGC 7.5 in a long, long time. And so I value this, and it's totally a guesstimate, at $500. An SGC 7 is average at a 316. A PSA 7.5 averages out at $495. So I put this in that neighborhood. And then last year, I estimated its value at $388, and that still could be in the ballpark. And if that's the case, then it would bump it down to probably 7th, or actually 6th on this list. But last year it was 2nd in my collection. Just an awesome card. I owned his rookie at the National for about 45 minutes, and I hope to pick that one up here before too long. All right, and number 2 is the 60 Topps Mickey Mantle. I love this card. It's the first Mickey Mantle that I ever owned. And again, this is number 2. And in SGC 5, its current VCP average value is $610. Last year, this was number 1 in my collection, and its average value was $665. So it's come down, what is that, $55 since last year. But I'm not going to sweat that in the least. Again, just another amazing card. Love it. And then last but not least, if you've been around the channel for longer than 5 minutes, you know what is number 1. It's the 54 Topps Hank Aaron in an SGC 2. Its current VCP average price in an SGC 2 is $1,994. And again, this was not a card that I owned last year. And I think I drove everybody in the YouTube card community absolutely insane because I did not shut up about this card for 4 days. People I didn't even know, people I'd never spoken to, I just walked up to and was like, hey, have you seen my Hank Aaron? Well, of course they hadn't seen it. You'd never spoken to him before, right? So it was kind of me being obnoxious. It was fun. I was over the moon. And, well, really still am. But I think I was on a cardboard high when I bought this card for about 4 or 5 days straight, if not longer. And I'm over the moon to have this card in my collection. And this is a beautiful example of it too, in my opinion. It's got some issues. There are some rubs here. And then there's, if I can get the light to shine on it, there's a little bit of a wrinkle right there. And I looked at it again recently because I was considering sending it in to maybe see if I could get it bumped up to a 2.5 or a 3. But I think this card is well earned in its grade of a 2 because there's some other waviness or something going on down here on the bottom that is hard to see. But if I've got to look at this card basically under a magnifying glass to discover its flaws, like, this is definitely not a 2 that I can complain about. Just a gorgeous card. Again, it's a card that I never ever thought I would be able to own. Not in a million years. So super happy to have that. That's the big dog in my collection right now, and I'm hoping to add some more in this next coming up year. So I'm going to flip this around and close everything out. I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back as my daughter's running around upstairs. So again, this is most definitely not the best collection you're going to see on YouTube. Far from it, right? But it's my collection, and I've worked hard to grow it and make it what it is today, and I couldn't be happier. Like, my collection is exactly what it's supposed to be at this point in my collecting journey, and I'm really excited for everything that I have, and the difference between this year and last year is tremendous. It's amazing to me, and a lot of these cards, again, are cards I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be able to own. My camera's crooked now. It's going to bug me. And I hope to add some more big cards to the collection this year. Again, I'm going to be sending a lot of cards, hopefully, to SGC. Here's my finalized stack that I'm going to send out, hopefully on the 15th of February when this month's allowance kicks in. And there's some really cool cards in there. Nothing of tremendous value, but just cool nostalgic cards. But I hope to add something like a Clemente rookie or a Koufax rookie, or maybe like a Nolan Ryan rookie and a Musial rookie or something like that. Like, I still have my list from Cleveland broken down into 3 tiers of cards that I want to add. So the next one, if I have enough patience to save up money to pick it up, I'm hoping it's going to be a Koufax rookie or a Clemente rookie. And what I'm really considering taking a year off from big shows. We'll see how it goes. Right now, at this point, I'm fairly certain that I'm not going to be able to go to Strongsville. The baseball schedule is still not finalized. And so I would hate to make plans and then, because it's already almost February, so Strongsville is what? A little over 2 months, like 2 months and 11 days, 2 months, 10 days, somewhere around there. So I'd hate to make plans and then find out that it's not going to work out with the baseball schedule and then have to cancel. And I'm also thinking at this point, I could change my mind that I may set the National out this year. But if I don't go to Strongsville this year or the National next year, or the National this year, I'm getting tongue-tied again as always. If I don't go to either one of those shows this year, I will definitely go to at least one of them next year. And to be honest with you, I'm hoping that that is Strongsville, but we'll just see how everything plays out. So anyway, this is a little bit longer than I was hoping it to be, but I wanted to talk more about the channel and the direction of the channel and the collection and the community and all that other stuff than I did before my countdown last year. So you guys are used to me rambling on with longer videos anyway. So again, as always, I appreciate your support. I'm getting really, really close to 1,500 subscribers. I'm 19 away from 1,500. So if you're still with me at this point through a 30 however many minute video and you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you would do so, I would appreciate that tremendously. And if you could give this video a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that as well. So I'll wrap it up at that. So until the next one, I hope everybody has a good one, and I'll talk to you later.